Hi guys, this is Emil, and we are back playing House of Iron 4. Since we kinda need to build those new divisions, yada yada yada, I figured I will record one more after all. So if I start speaking very silly, that's because I'm very tired. So please forgive me, but I don't want to lose the train of thought. I want to set... yeah, let's put everyone on this border, I guess, for the time being. Now, let's wait those 10 days. At some point we will need to invest more in infrastructure, I'm afraid, especially here in Turkey, in order to be able to push that whole army of ours up north. But, well, not today. Now, I think we are going to actually start with tank divisions, because we actually need to build them. So we're gonna go like this: support anti-tank, engineering company, support artillery, and we will actually go for field hospitals. And for the time being, we're going to do it... oh, actually that's extremely expensive. You know what, we actually... alright. One more thing, because if we are going to go through this, let's say this, so army maneuvers, so that's 25 for us. Then we'll get to war college, doesn't do anything. Guard divisions, so that's we'll get basically a infantry with artillery setup. I'm not sure what is... we'll gain a unit, but we'll also gain a template for it. That's what, 140 days, that's way too long. So that's kind of silly. Then we can go for reserve divisions, which would give us a little bit more recruitable population, which, well, good option. Or we can go with armored divisions, and we will get actual units with 4 medium armor and 4 motorized battalions, which is kind of a nice start. And we get license purchasing cost minus 25% for armor. But those things, those license purchase costs, seem to be completely irrelevant, because I'm pretty sure, since, well, cost of every license is 1 civilian factory, I'm pretty sure there are no fractions of civilian factories. Well, I assume there aren't, then I tested and this doesn't seem to do anything, really, so I'm not sure what's the goal here. Perhaps if I were to buy 4 licenses, then I would only pay for 3, but that's just ridiculous. At no point in time you need to build 4 different types of tanks, especially, you know, so, well, maybe very late game, but at that point you simply have the research for it, so that's just ridiculous. So this is kind of a waste of things. And here we'll... yeah, so if anything, we'll go for reserve divisions here, because, well, as I mentioned, the recruitable population may become a factor. Going through here, bonus research for mountaineers, well, nothing to write home about. Support artillery research. Well, here we would get a battalion with 9 mountaineers, but that's, you know, ages away. So, alright, so what we are actually going to do is start with infantry. Reason being, well, we will be... which one was it? This one, right? Infantry, mountain troops. Reason being here is that we will be upgrading of our standard infantry into mountain infantry, and that in turn will need to then exercise with them, and that will actually produce army experience. something that the other way around will not. So do we want to support anti-tanks? I think we do for the time being. Although, what would be a difference? Well, we cannot bloody tell because we haven't actually produced them yet. Okay, let's start with recon here, then support artillery, definitely. Field hospitals, definitely, and well, we can go for either support anti-tank, support anti-air, or later for actual artillery, actual rocket artillery. And I think at some point we'll go for rocket artillery here. You know what? We'll go for rocket artillery here fairly early, so let's not spend too much. And since we will be you know, doing exercises anyway, we might as well exercise once we add those two bits later on. So yeah, that works for now. There we go. That will, I think, turn those guys into those kinds of brigades. Of course, we don't have enough infantry as it is. Not infantry, enough anti-tanks as it is, but yeah, we're going to switch basically everything to that. And I think it's time to get rid of cavalry divisions. We will use that manpower for something else. Any other? Well, they were quite useful with the speed and such, but yeah. Tanks will be superior. And another two here. There we go. So let's put tank in a different one, and well, we're basically going to turn everything we have here into mountain brigades. Towed artillery will have too little support equipment, and actually too little motorized. Interesting. Okay, so maybe not quite yet, because we want to start building those tanks. So we have 63 left. Okay, and support the tank here. I like to start with engineers, recon, support artillery, support anti-tank. Not sure if I want field hospitals. I'll leave it out. Maybe later we'll upgrade them. Actually missing 2 points. Alright, let's wait then. Let's grab all the mountain troops. Well, I kinda wish I could do it automatically. Is here, yeah. That's quite a few actually already. Put them into a different group. Put whoever, and put whoever, and do some exercising. Once we get another 2, we'll go for those. Fall of Paris, France gets captured. Perfect. Yes, sadly, Free France got this whole thing for us. Not for us. Inherited the guarantee. Now, we actually need to look at this production. I think this is excessive, to be honest. Let's cut it down to this. As it turns out, we will need more motorized, so yeah, let's add a little bit more. Wow, we actually need more oil. Interesting. Well, frankly, we'll need probably even more motorized, since, you know, amount of tanks we are building, amount of everything. We'll need more artillery. Yeah, let's start with that. Yeah, but also I think support equipment. All right, yeah, we'll produce enough soon enough. Soon enough. Jesus. We are missing. Well, we cannot grab it from here, and oh man, this is gonna be an issue. So I think we'll need to consider synthetic factories sooner rather than later. Not a nice thought. Alright, we have anti-tank. So, how much anti-tank do we need? Say 8. Okay, let's actually put most of it already in. There we go. Yeah, that would have to do. 1 artillery as well. I'm taking those that haven't been, you know, they've been added lately, so there isn't much of a loss in terms of productivity when I switch those things around. Okay. Okay, nicely. Right, the nation of France, nationalistic France, which is Vichy France, declared war on Free France. Expand University in Bucharest. Now. So we can either go for the Air Force, and there are 2 ways. We can go for licensing once again, but we wouldn't be. So if we go licensing, we can simply go for 2 research bonuses for the one that we want, battlefield support, and then get a bonus for close air support, which is nice. Or we can go for air defense and acquire fighters, which would give the right. So they will need to have a better fighter to offer us than the one we have. But well, if we decide to go this way, we'll definitely just picking battlefield support and this. So this is kind of irrelevant for us. But the way it works, you can, for example, do it fairly early on, and you would get basically a license, but you wouldn't have to pay any civilian factories for it. It would be ad infinitum. I think if we go to war with that nation, that would stop, but until then, you would get a free license out of it. Well, free in a way that you are not paying civilian factories, but you are paying in focuses. And local development, on the other hand, will get a flat 10% production cost cut, which is, well, always nice. But as far as interesting things here end, we can get bonuses. This is basically a research bonus for 1940 fighter. This is a research bonus for close air support, and this is 2 research bonuses to the doctrine that we are not using. So if we go for air, we are going to go this way for the medium bombers and so on. And here, strategic bombing, worthless. Heavy bombers, worthless. Like, I'm not a fan, basically. I mean, they have their uses, but I would say strategic bombing is best done with your heavy bombers, with those guys like Heinkel 111, with your tactical bombers that can also do ground attacks, and you use it to destroy enemy fortifications rather than, you know, hit the factories. So you can actually pretty nicely level a few points of those fortifications right here, and well, if they if they can't repair them fast enough, then you can actually power through the lines here pretty easily, actually, just after a few weeks of bombing. So useful stuff. Here, so this is kind of pointless. Infantry weapons, I mean, okay, nice, but none of this screams things particularly useful. I mean, bonus to movement of artillery and anti-tanks in the mountains is, well, it's a good stuff for, you know, fighting here, but it's pretty deep down the road. So I think we are actually gonna go, since we actually have enough army experience, so this is not a factor. We're just gonna go for medium bombers right here, which is actually not a medium bomber, but force air support, which is weird. Yeah, artillery, anti-tank research, yada yada yada. All right, well, pause and let's go. Death Rudolph Hess. Okay, we've gotten that there's 2 points we were missing. Let's start producing those divisions. Yeah, I think we'll need better piercing because we may actually get into fight against enemy medium tanks there, and that would be deadly. And that's can wait. All right. All right. Light tanks are good, but they are, and honestly, light tanks are enough to win World War II. But maybe we'll see how the research and production shapes up. Perhaps we'll go for the heavy tanks after all. Now, for our research here, yeah, I think we need anti-air. Actually, now when I think about it, I should have bloody thought about it earlier. Okay, let's move it here. Of course, we can use the license system to help us research some of those things, eh? Like Tau anti-air. There we go. And soon enough, the better better artillery. So what was it? Yeah, 20%. Nice stuff. I think it's worth 80 days of civilian factory, considering our situation. Okay, so they're going with attack on the Netherlands. Good enough. Original allies, yada yada yada. Okay. Yeah, I think it's time to go back to our task of getting bloody doctrines underway. So this is definitely the better one for the most part. Plus 50% to support companies is very powerful, especially in our situation. So the thing is, like if you go to this division and, for example, here you see that this is 4.2 soft attack, right? And well, this is actually more obvious. So this is 1.8 soft attack. The base soft attack is so base soft attack for a recon company is 10% of the attack of your weapons, which is infantry weapon in this case, which is 6. So your basic attack here is 0.6, and your basic attack on those guys is also 0.6, because they have 100%, is 6, right? Because they have, recon companies have minus 90% modifier to their strength, but they're using the same weapon as your actual infantry companies and mountaineer companies. And but you'll see that further bonuses, in our case, bonuses plus 20% from superior firepower. Superior firepower gives us, if you take a look here, all frontline battalions, and that includes, as you can see, recon companies. So that's soft attack plus 20%. And so both of our mountaineers and recon companies are affected by plus 20%. But, well, this something is off about this math, isn't it? Because this, from our 0.6, by adding 20%, we went to 1.8, which is an increase of 1.2. And in here as well, we went from 6 to 7.2, which is an increase of 1.2. What that means is that the negative modifiers of support companies, all of them, so this is, I believe, 70%, there is, on artillery it's 25% negative modifier, and on recon company 90 modifier. They're only applied once, and but all the other bonuses, including that plus 20% from this, and plus 50% from those here in integrated support, are not affected by those minus 90%. Which means that our artillery, that of course has a pretty heavy soft attack, will be benefiting from them very significantly. Also, our engineer and recon companies, by the time we finish with those doctrines, will be dealing more damage, more soft attacks than our actual mountaineer companies with 1,000 people in them. So, well, ridiculous, but that's how it works, and we are going to use that. Just, you know, FYI. I mean, it's a bit weird, but well, well, I've actually thought quite a bit about it, and I mean, doing the math the other way around would also add issues. So at some point they needed they had to implement that modifiers, and they decided to implement those, well, those support companies modifiers at the beginning of the thing rather than at the end. And here we are. Now, what else do we need to research? Well, we kinda need to research this sooner rather than later, so that's one thing. This can wait because this doesn't impede our production. Same goes for radios. So this is a production focused. Those two going towards our production we are working on. Air Force, we are going to wait for those bonuses we are gonna get through our focus trees. Yeah, I think we kinda need to finish this though. This doesn't help with our production, but yeah. Although, oh fuck it, let's do that so we can start building bloody start building better guns, because, well, that all applies to the, well, when we have better guns, those bonuses from support brigade bonuses are even more powerful, of course. Okay, so there's a winter war going on. At some point I may actually go play a winter war as Finland. Shouldn't be all that hard. Alright, so we got interwar artillery. How are we on this? Yeah, we don't want to waste equipment, I don't think. So let's we will keep removing the guys that have already reached max level here. Denmark. Oh, look at that. Sometimes they get really blocked at Copenhagen, but it seems like it worked this time around. We should have. Okay, expand the Air Force. Let's go for acquire licenses. This is, well, useless, but we'll get this in the battlefield support later on. Alright. So we are pretty shitty on tanks and motorized. Okay, we'll get the... right, we need rubber. Ugh. Come on, Siam. What I'm paying you for. Yeah, this is gonna be a problem. As we go to war, well, at least we can get some tungsten here. Now let's, if we wanted oil, we would, well, rubber, would have to rush all the way down here and basically conquer Africa. Now, should we? That's the question, because we potentially could do that before the war with the Soviets starts. So we would invade, basically invade Greece here, and while position our, well, we kind of need tanks for that, honestly. So let's actually build tanks first, and then we'll worry about this. Yeah, but I think we'll have to do that. Win the bloody war in Africa before the whole thing collapses, and this way we can get just a little bit of rubber. Problem is that garrisoning this whole shit will be a pain in the ass. The fact that we'll need to keep our garrisons here and there to prevent them from actually making landings on our shores. Annoying stuff. But oh well, I think it's gonna be worth it. Oh, on the other hand, we could just hold on and continue buying stuff from them, because when we go to war, that is gonna be painful, especially for our rubber, due to lack of rubber for us. And of course, they are gonna decimate our convoys through Portugal, so that's another issue. Right, we'll consider all the options a bit later, I think. Plus we need to produce those bloody tanks first. Alright, so we actually finished this research. We can go and remove that license. And we actually want... oh, that's a medium. Okay, so they do not have a light tank. Self-propelled artillery, interesting. Okay. Have we actually cancelled it? Yes, we have. Okay, well, we can research this ourselves. Yeah, let's just do it really quick. Alright, yeah. Works for me. And what we, of course, need to do is upgrade this. Better tanks, there we go. Right, we don't want that. Just need that for the research. So we probably should get synthetic oil refineries sooner rather than later. Well, not so much for the oil, but for the bloody rubber. That's gonna be a drag. Right, so we got some anti-air now. Thankfully that only uses steel. Well, we'll need a little bit. Oh, let's buy more steel. There we go. Well, perhaps Italy will manage in here, so we could buy some rubber from them. Well, the worst case scenario would be to have to rush, for example, rush through Iran, conquer British Raj, and go all the way to British Malaya to pick it up. I mean, that's excessive. So let's not do that. I mean, let's try to play with the lack of resources and potentially just going for the war with Africa, which, well, now when I think about it, with all those all this impossible terrain, it should be actually fairly interesting to get going there. So, well, once we get our tanks underway, we should probably consider it. Okay, and self-propelled artillery. Ah, right, because we don't have all the tanks in the stockpile. Actually, okay, let's cancel. How many tanks are we using here? Huh. So the thing is, we have a lot of tanks, the old ones, that we could use to turn them into the new ones. Well, new self-propelled artilleries. But we don't really have any, because we are using all of them to fuel the tanks here. Yeah, but I think fielding those, well, we'll use them later, so yeah, that should be actually fairly fast. Yeah, I think without the self-propelled artilleries we can live for a while, so let's just focus on tanks first. Alright, quite a lot of research options now. Let's just grab one before we finish this episode. Well, it's December, so we should be picking up improved computing machine. At the same time, we kind of need that, and we definitely need this. We are like 1 year behind already. Yeah, but yeah, I think computing machine probably the way to go. I mean, not sure how long this game will last, so it is about 5%. Yeah, it's worth it for what if we go another year or so, year and a half. So yeah, about that should be all right. Still not 150. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. And let's move most of you out. We are at 9 points already, so we soon should be able to add those anti-air bits that we require. And later on, we will be producing some Oh, right. Before we finish the recording, we need to stop licensing that, and what we are going to license is the better well, this military equipment, as well as those artillery pieces. There you go. Alright, that's in the next episode. So, plan, as I mumbled on, is probably going to be using tanks to rush through the Africa, if possible. Well, may or may not work. And at the same time, the infantry will storm through Greece. And yeah, that's about it. But we are not gonna like rush through Iraq and Iran. That seems a little bit excessive. So we'll try to suffer the lack of robbery with dignity, because I don't know. I'm pretty sure we could steamroll through Iraq, Iran, and British Raj in a matter of weeks. And of course, then get to British Malaya and so on and so forth. But that's historically implausible. So what we are going to do is simply perhaps we'll support Japan by sending them some guns if they are in need. We cannot see at the moment, but I think we have some spare guns, so we may do that. But that's about it. Just rushing there with tanks and grabbing rubber is kind of preposterous. It's about as silly of a thing as right after the game came out, people grabbing Netherlands and this way securing rubber here. They would just go to war against Netherlands at the beginning of the game and get all the rubber in Dutch East Indies. Now you cannot do that, of course, because this is a separate nation, but colonial nation, puppet, I mean. But yeah, silly thing. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you are enjoying the series, and well, if you do and you haven't subscribed yet, well, do it. I'm trying not to spam too much, except when the game comes out, so your inbox shouldn't be suffering too much. Well, anyway, see you next time.